Good morning, everyone. So I think yesterday was lesson 44, God is the light in which I see. And this was the first lesson in a little mini series of lessons, which I really love. There's 4 of them, beginning with yesterday's, which is God is the light in which I see. So I hope that went okay for you. Today is lesson 45. God is the mind with which I think. So you'll see sort of a theme going on here for this little mini series. So let us begin. And so let's talk about the God thing again. When it says God is the light in which I see, God is the mind in which I think, we're talking about that part of you that is totally connected to God, that part of you that is the loving presence, that can see the world through the eyes of God. And so, again, God is not that supreme, ultimate being who has control over everything we do, and whether we go to heaven or hell when we die, or who passes judgment on us. That is not the God that is being referred to in the Course. So if you have any religious background or any religious beliefs, and that is, the way in which you see God, just be open to seeing them in a different way. So let's do today's lesson. God is the mind with which I think. Today's idea holds the key to what your real thoughts are. They are nothing that you think, just as nothing that you think you see is related to vision in any way. There is no relationship between what is real and what you think is real. Nothing that you think are your real thoughts resemble your real thoughts in any respect. Nothing that you think you see bears any resemblance to what vision will show you. So that brought to mind a lesson. I think I'm not upset for the reason I think. That kind of popped into my head, and that's kind of going on that same theme, is we think we're upset for a specific reason, but when we drill down, when we look inside, when we really sit with it, we discover that's not the real reason. So this is, again, looking at the thoughts from a different perspective. You think with the mind of God, therefore you share your thoughts with Him as He shares His with you. They are the same thoughts because they are thought by the same mind. To share is to make alike or to make one. Nor do the thoughts you think with the mind of God leave your mind, because thoughts do not leave their source. Therefore your thoughts are in the mind of God as you are. They are in your mind as well, where He is. As you are part of His mind, so are your thoughts part of His mind. Where then are your real thoughts? Today we will attempt to reach them. We will have to look for them in your mind, because that is where they are. They must still be there because they cannot have left their source. What is thought by the mind of God is eternal, being part of creation. Our 3 5-minute practice periods for today will take the same general form that we used in applying yesterday's idea. We will attempt to leave the unreal and seek for the real. We will deny the world in favor of truth. We will not let the thoughts of the world hold us back. We will not let the beliefs of the world tell us that what God would have us do is impossible. Instead, we will try to recognize that only what God would have us do is possible. We will also try to understand that only what God would have us do is what we want to do. And we will also try to remember that we cannot fail in doing what He would have us do. There is every reason to feel confident that we will succeed today. It is the will of God. Begin the exercises for today by repeating the idea to yourself, closing your eyes as you do so. Then spend a fairly short period in thinking a few relevant thoughts of your own, keeping the idea in mind. After you have added some 4 or 5 thoughts of your own to the idea, repeat it again and tell yourself gently, "My real thoughts are in my mind. I would like to find them." So you're opening up to seeing something that you didn't see before. You are relaxing into that place that says, I am willing to see things differently. And again, it's not about trying to understand the idea so much as it is being open to seeing things differently, to looking at things from a different perspective. Then try to go past all the unreal thoughts that cover the truth in your mind and reach to the eternal. Under all the senseless thoughts and mad ideas with which you have cluttered up your mind are the thoughts that you thought with God in the beginning. They are there in your mind now, completely unchanged. They will always be in your mind exactly as they always were. Everything you have thought since then will change, but the foundation on which it rests is wholly changeless. It is this foundation toward which the exercises for today are directed. Here is your mind joined with the mind of God. Here are your thoughts one with His. For this kind of practice, only one thing is necessary. Approach it as you would an altar dedicated in heaven to God the Father and to God the Son. For such is the place you are trying to reach, and you will probably be unable as yet to realize how high you are trying to go. Yet even with the little understanding you have already gained, you should be able to remind yourself that this is no idle game, but an exercise in holiness and an attempt to reach the kingdom of heaven. And when they talk about reaching the kingdom of heaven, they mean right now in this moment. They don't mean after you die. They don't mean when you've left the body. This means right here and now. In the shorter exercise periods for today, try to remember how important it is for you to understand the holiness of the mind that thinks with God. Take a minute or two as you repeat the idea throughout the day to appreciate your mind's holiness. Stand aside, however briefly, from all thoughts that are unworthy of Him whose host you are, and thank Him for the thoughts He is thinking with you. So, yeah, we're born with the memory of the thoughts of God, and that God is the mind with which we think. And then ego starts taking over, and we get into the real world, and we start to see how other people are thinking about things, and we get caught up in that, and we get pulled into it, and we start to become more the victim in situations as opposed to seeing it from a different perspective. So this is kind of these exercises are really good in letting go of ideas such as this is happening to me, as opposed to this is something that's happening and I'm bearing witness to it from that loving presence that is a part of God. So hopefully you can keep that in mind. Don't overanalyze. For those of you that are thinkers, don't overanalyze it. Feel whatever comes up. If it's resistance, great, because you are recognizing it. If it's acceptance, great. You can, totally embrace the lesson. And if it's nothing, that's okay too. So have a great day. Good luck with the lesson, and we'll see you next time for lesson 46. Have a great day.